Thank you so very much. Ms. Dereth Glantz, Executive Program Director, Citizens Campaign for the Environment, Syracuse, New York.
Thank you, Chairwoman Johnson, Ranking Member Boozman, and distinguished members of the committee. It is my great pleasure to testify before you today on the need to establish a dedicated fund for clean water for all Americans. My name is Dereth Glantz. I'm the Executive Program Director with Citizens Campaign for the Environment. We're an environmental and public health advocacy organization supported by over 80,000 members throughout New York and Connecticut. I also serve as the treasurer and a board member on the National Clean Water Network, and I also serve on Governor Patterson's Clean Water Collaborative. I believe establishing a dedicated fund to ensure that Americans have access to safe drinking water and that American waters are no longer fouled by sewage and polluted runoff is long overdue. The need is overwhelming and urgent. In New York State alone, we're estimated over the next 20 years to need $74 billion to meet our clean water and drinking water needs. Nationally, the EPA puts that estimate at $722 billion. To bring that back home in Syracuse, we need $1 billion to deal with our aging water pipes alone. And I could speak at lengths about the overwhelming quantities of raw sewage that pour into our waters as it happens almost every day. Just on the 4th of July weekend at Lake George on their $1 million beach, over 6,000 gallons of raw sewage spewed onto the beaches, closing the beaches, ruining summer vacations, and the businesses that depend on those tourists. The same is true for our water mains. On Mother's Day in Syracuse, over 1 million gallons of water flooded downtown churches, businesses, closing daycares permanently. We've removed lead from gasoline, from paint, and from toys. Now is the time to ensure that our children and members of Congress and your staff can drink tap water that's not delivered through lead-leaching pipes. Water is a powerful compound and sewage is caustic. With so many other problems in plain sight, investing in clean water is often ignored for too long until it is too late and it's even more expensive. We must make rebuilding and reinvesting in the fundamental sanitary service a national priority. We need federal resources to protect Americans and our right to basic sanitation. Sewage treatment plants are some of the most energy-intensive and expensive municipal taxpayer expenses. By investing in energy and water efficiency, we have many benefits to gain, as well as controlling our costs. We can look at an example just in Dallas. They've been able to avoid controversial water projects by providing incentives for both the commercial and residential consumers to practice water efficiency practices. Now, a dedicated and robust Clean Water Trust Fund will assist states and local municipalities in closing that gap for water infrastructure, and the economic benefits will be felt far and wide. We're going to be improving water quality, creating jobs, and protecting public health. And I applaud Congress and especially the leadership in this committee for including much-needed funding in the American Recovery and Reinvestment Act. In particular, there was key language that was included that encouraged green infrastructure, innovative solutions that promote outside-the-pipe thinking, and also provide funding for water and energy efficiency improvements at our treatment plants. And I'm also encouraged by the much-needed funding that's moving forward through the SRF reauthorization for both clean water and drinking water. The SRF is an effective and important funding source for American water projects, but its need consistently exceeds funding. And the solution is the American Water Protection and Reinvestment Act. It outlines a 21st century approach to deal with our 21st century water needs. And I want to highlight a few of the key provisions for a successful Clean Water Trust Fund. First, we need a fix-it-first approach. We need to make sure this fund is not funding pipes to nowhere. We need sensible growth we need to make sure that we have funding, research, and development. Our 21st century water infrastructure needs need to be grounded in 21st science and engineering. We need to have national research centers and programs at our universities to develop those bright minds to bring about our sustainable water future. We need to encourage our innovative clean water solutions. The EPA tells us to manage water efficiently. We need to slow it down, spread it out, and soak it in. We need to make sure that we're keeping pharmaceuticals out of the water. Our treatment plants are not equipped to deal with removing endocrine disrupting and estrogen-mimicking medications. Grants are necessary for our local municipalities that are cash-strapped. We need to deal with climate change and mitigation. These are challenges that water infrastructure has not seen, and they can be part of the solution by generating clean, renewable energy on site. We need to supplement, not supplant, the SRF, and we need dedicated funding from a variety of sources. The small fees on pesticides, beverages, and users create a sensible and diffuse way to fund this program. And of all things, and water is a public trust. It's necessary for us to drink or we perish. And of all things to hold in public trust, what could be more important to Americans than access to safe and clean water? Thank you.
Thank you very much. We have a vote, and we have 5 votes. That's going to take at least 30 to 40 minutes. But we'll have to take a break and come back. And I apologize if this is going to mess your day up so much. But they don't listen to us on that floor. But we will return, and the questions will come after we complete the testimony.